Hi, I'm your host, Roseanne, a certified nutrition coach with a background in psychology. Here on Hey Sugar podcast, you will learn how to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle without dieting. I'll be teaching you practical tips that you can incorporate in your unique lifestyle. I am going to help you break any dieting mindset traps and show you that a healthy and sustainable lifestyle is doable. I'm going to keep it simple and I'm going to keep it real. Now, you see, I was once overweight, I was once medically obese and had a diagnosis of high cholesterol. I've been able to keep my weight off and keep my cholesterol numbers to a healthy range for over the past 15 years. So if you're ready to change your life for good and create a healthy and sustainable lifestyle for yourself, then this is for you. Let's go.
Hey Sugar, have I got a treat for you today? Today we're going to be talking all things boundaries, and I want you to really pay attention because I know we are or should be able to at least tackle an area in your life where you feel you need to create some boundaries. And with me today is one of my best friends. She is Irene Mumo. Irene is an educationalist. She is currently pursuing her PhD in family and marriage therapy and counseling. She also, together with her husband, have written several books. Now, one of the things that she's done is she's created a program for young adults called 30 by 30. Now, 30 by 30 is a fantastic framework for young adults who are navigating career, navigating relationships, navigating their bodies. And what we're going to be doing, what she and her husband have done, is they've helped these young adults craft and navigate their life in that sense. But not only that, she's actually going to be telling us a lot more. She also works with premarital counseling. She has helped me. She's also helped my husband and I. They've helped us in our own relationship. And what I want you guys to do, and I want you to do, is to keep your eyes and ears open, because she is a gem that God has put here on earth who is going to help us navigate our relationships, specifically in our boundaries. Irene, welcome.
Well, thank you, Roseanne. You make me feel well.
You are well, Irene.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I know I've done a little bit of intro, but do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and even why you wanted to become a family marriage therapist counselor?
Actually, one of the things that happened in my own life when we were getting married is we went through premarital counseling, and I came away thinking it didn't really help me. It kind of equipped me, and I wondered, what if someone had told me this or that or this or that? There were topic areas that I wish someone had talked to me about, or talked to me about them in a way that I could understand and in a way that I could use in my life. So that was one of the earliest things. The other thing too is that we love being around couples being around young couples, older couples. We really, really enjoy that. And so it's been just an area of calling. You know, the thing that you get pricked if you're not doing it.
Right? I like that.
Yeah, if you're not doing it,
you get pricked.
You keep wondering who's doing it if I'm not doing it.
Right.
So it's definitely an area of calling and an area of great passion. So I have made that an area of study as well. So we've done premarital counseling and marriage counseling for the last 15 years. And now just equipping myself with tools. And it's always good to know what's happening, what's new, what are the latest techniques. So I'm very excited about that.
And so you guys, you're in for a treat because she's going to be sharing the latest techniques. And the reason why I brought her on, Irene, honestly, I want to thank you because you honestly have helped me in knowing myself and knowing when I am wrong, to admit when I am wrong, because y'all know, when you're wrong, you need to say when you're wrong.
Absolutely.
I do love that you're able to call me out on those issues. But today specifically, I want us to talk about boundaries. And the reason why I thought this would be a great topic for us to discuss, Irene, is as I'm coaching my women, so many different issues come up, whether it's with their kids, whether it is at work, whether it's in their marriages, relationships with their girlfriends, relationships with their in-laws, or even their aging parents. A lot of moms and women always feel like they're being pushed to the corner. They're being pushed to the edge. And when they get pushed to the edge, they feel all types of ways, either sad, disappointed, angry, violated, etc. And then they end up using food to medicate their emotions.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right? So what I want us to do is I want us to talk about what are boundaries anyway in the first place. I know we're talking about all these things, but what are boundaries? And we say, so that this woman who's listening may be able to identify, okay, this is a boundary. And we're going to talk more as to how should we create those boundaries. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, boundaries is an amazing area of study. I first came across them back when I was doing my own premarital counseling, but then again, it didn't really make sense because it wasn't broken down for me in a way that I could understand how to do it. So hopefully I can break it down
in a way that
teach
we
it
can
the way
understand.
I wish I had been taught.
Right.
So boundaries are simply, think about a fence around your compound.
Okay.
Think about the fact that we all have fences.
Okay.
We all have a fence, then we have a door, and even to get into your bedroom, there's yet another door. And those are all gateways into your home. Your home represents your privacy. So if you think of you, yourself, as a home, you have gateways. You let people in or you keep them out. It's up to you. So I like to say no one makes me feel a certain way. I allow them to make me absolutely. You open that door and you let them in. So it's up to you. You have to demarcate your boundaries and then allow people in as you please and out as you please. Not picking and choosing, but you just know there's people who bring you good vibe. Some people bring you negative vibe.
Yes.
It's up to you to decide who to let in.
And who to let. And I love that you've talked about the vibes or the energy. Because the thing is this, if you feel that vibe is off, that tells you what?
That tells you
a boundary is being
violated. Absolutely.
Yeah? And it's been violated because I have values that I espouse to or I hold to. Is that what it is?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the fence is the boundaries.
Yes.
The house is me.
Exactly.
So what's inside the house?
Oh my goodness. What's inside of you?
Yes.
You have emotions. You have thoughts. You have your physical body.
Yes.
You have a sexuality about yourself. You have, if it's at work, there's who you are at work, intellectually, for example. There is material boundaries. There's my money, my possessions, my clothes, my cups, my seats. Those are my things,
stuff,
my stuff. There is time. There's my time. It belongs to me.
Yes.
How do I section out my 24 hours? How do I want to use it? And how do I want the people around me to use my time?
And I love this because so you're basically telling us there's different areas of our lives. And this is what lifestyle is. You know, when we talk about lifestyle, so we have the time, you have the relationships, you have the in-laws, you have all these things that you've laid out for us. And then now you're saying inside us, we have values that we hold on to.
Exactly.
And the reason why a woman would be violated, say at work, whether it's her time that's been violated, you know, she's supposed to leave work at 5 o'clock, that's what she was told, but then there's this boss who, actually, you might want to take us through, how does it actually start, the violation? Because I've noticed it's usually very
subtle.
Very subtle.
Very subtle.
And I want you to know you're being tested to see,
how far can we push you?
How far can we push you?
If we ask, if your contract says leave at 5:30 and someone for some reason is upset that you left at 5:30, that's your first indicator. And in fact, in the workplace, for example, we could actually start there.
Yes, yeah.
In the workplace, there's also just knowing I am here, I'm a professional. So you also have to present yourself, by the way, in a way that people can respect you. Because I want to say, if your home doesn't have a fence, people will walk right up to your door.
Dang, and walk all over you.
Absolutely. So you don't have to walk in being assertive from the word go, but you do need to know the day, at the moment that someone oversteps their bounds with you. It's time to say, you know what, that's not okay, and you need to say it at that very point, because otherwise people start pushing and they say, but you were okay last time.
Yes,
you were okay last week.
Yeah.
You want to be careful about how you're talked to, even if it's a boss.
Yes.
There's got to be respect. There's got to be regard for you. There's got to be a regard for your time, for your intellect, for what you're bringing to the table. That's why they hired you.
And that is why I say the woman has a lot of worth.
Absolutely.
And the thing that we want to tell this woman is, if you find yourself you've sort of you've opened up that door. So how does she now revert back? Actually, let's reverse it back. First thing is, how do we create boundaries? Coming from a culture, Irene, where our African culture, women, we're expected to support the society. We're givers.
Exactly.
By nature, we are empathetic. But then, when all these things in life, people, kids, are beginning to violate our boundaries, how do we begin to say no, yet society expects us to say yes?
That's true.
And we're feeling on the inside, I don't want to do this, but...
Yeah, I think what you're saying is you have an internal barometer. You do have an internal barometer that tells you, this is, for some reason, this is not sitting well with me.
Yeah.
The problem is when we let it happen so many times, we become numb to it. We forget. We start to feel guilty, actually. Because culturally, going back to our African culture, culturally we are, especially as women, we serve ourselves last. We eat last. We buy our clothes. We're the ones who buy clothes last. If there's money left over,
isn't it?
We are the ones who are always giving, and there's nothing wrong with giving if you know that that's within your boundaries. I'm all for giving. I'm all for generosity. I'm all for kindness. But I'm all for do it because you want to do it, and it's within your ability to do it. So it's so critical to know. First of all, we need to raise the awareness. And one of the ways you know, and I want to just read a part of it. If you feel uncomfortable or you feel exhausted around certain people or resentful, then you know someone is intruding on your boundaries.
Uncomfortable, resentful,
and uncomfortable, resentful, and exhausted.
Exhaustion, especially. That's one I've felt in the past around some people. But I didn't realize, why am I feeling exhausted? Let me share a quick story about a boundary that I had to create with my child. She was a baby. She didn't even know.
Babies are the worst.
Babies are
absolutely.
And I got two. You got two.
I got
right?
Two.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember, so you know how our culture, actually you kind of sort of mentioned it, and that's what has triggered this thought. Our culture tells us you feed your children first. So this time, I don't remember where we had gone. I'd carried the baby food. She was a baby. I mean, she was probably not even a year. She actually wasn't a year yet. So we had carried all this food, and so I was feeding her where we were, but it was time for her to eat, but I hadn't eaten all day. So by the time we were getting home, now see, I'm taking care of
everybody,
but I hadn't taken care of me. By the time we were getting home, Irene, I was so hungry. I was so angry. I was feeling all types of things, and I was thinking, oh my God, my culture, because it's my first baby, so I didn't know otherwise. And my mom died, so my mom is not here to be telling me, eat Chico.
Sort yourself out.
So I remember thinking, oh my God, I need to eat, but I need to feed my child first. But in that moment of thinking that way, I also remember thinking, but I'm also, how you get hangry, hunger and anger, that just naturally.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, no, you want to eat first and then feed your baby.
Yes.
But I remember going through this dialogue in my brain of feeling guilty that, oh my God, how do you eat before your baby? And by then she's fine, she's not crying. There's none of that, but the time was there for her to eat. Anyway, long story short, I end up eating before her, and I remember feeling calm. But this is the only thing I can tell you. I know God himself said, take care of yourself first. Like, it was clear in my mind. Because when I felt calm, actually for me, the thing I noticed was the irritation. It sort of dissipated. And now I was able to feed her nicely. So what would you say to a mother who has that child? This mom is not taking care of himself. This mom is like me at one point, is feeling irate, irritated, etc.
Yeah.
How does she create those boundaries as a new mom? Because then I was a new mom.
Oh my goodness. I think children are beautiful. I think we all know that. They're wonderful, but they demand a lot from us.
Yes.
But we also have to train them. Just the same way you train your boss how to treat you. You train. This is a relationship. And it's a lifelong relationship.
Yes.
And the worst thing is to resent your child.
Yes.
Because what I'm hearing you say is you were starting to resent a poor child.
I was resenting the fact that I needed to feed her, but I'm the one who's hungry. She's not even crying, but I'm the one who's feeling there.
So self-care is a critical thing as a mom. It's critical. One of the things I know that is critical in instituting boundaries with a child is have a bedtime for them, have a routine for them. Because if there's no routine, it means they can be awake at midnight. They can be awake at, I don't know, they can just be awake. So getting them into a sleep routine and eating, bathing, and sleep routine is so critical because it allows you to set them free. I bet you they also don't want to be with you that long.
Actually, I've seen studies that say children expect us to guide them.
Yes.
There's that expectation from them. So when we are showing them this is the way to go, there's sort of like an expectation.
Yes.
Oh, they know, okay, it's dinner time now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, So I love that.
So for me, the indicator that something is off, even with my own child, is if I'm getting irritated and resentful. It means I have allowed a boundary of mine to be violated. Yeah. So even with a young newborn child, you want to create boundaries. Then you can enjoy the relationship.
Isn't it?
You can enjoy your home
if
you know you're secure, if you know you're safe, and if you know the people in it are welcome. But when you have intruders, you're not happy. When you have intruders, you're not happy.
You're not happy. And so the intrusion comes in so many ways. So let's talk about relationships, right? And the reason why this is one of the things that a lot of women when they come to me, they're coming for me to help them with weight loss.
Right.
And I always tell my women, I know you're coming to me to lose weight, but there's a lot more that we're going to be dealing with because there's a reason why you're using food to medicate the stuff that's going on.
There you go.
So relationships is another place where I found boundaries are not created. Relationships, whether it's with a husband or even with your girlfriends or even parents or your in-laws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there's an expectation there, isn't there?
There is, and you are the one that set up that expectation. I want to bring it back to you have to own your space. Because if you don't own your space, know its demarcations. Know what you can accept physically, emotionally, intellectually. What can you let in? My mom, even my own mom, I thank God for her, but she also has to relate with me in a way that that fosters a healthy relationship. Because a lot of times we have unhealthy bounds and bonds with people. We're bound to someone because they're your mom. That's not enough.
Oof.
You're bound to someone because they're your child. That's not enough. Oof. You're bound to people for whatever reasons. It's not enough. It's critical to be able to say, I love you, mom, or I love you, whoever it is.
Yes.
But this makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it when you talk to me like that. I don't like it when you just show up at my house without letting me know. Mom, you're welcome.
Yes.
But if you come when I'm busy, then you make me feel guilty because I'm not able to spend time with you. That's not okay. I want to give you I want to give you I want to prioritize you, but then you need to let me know that you're coming. It's things like that. It's things that we sometimes do with strangers that we don't know how to do with the people that are closest to us.
And the people that are closest to us are the ones that tend to, there's a word that I'm hearing a lot, trigger us. They trigger us, the people that are closest to us.
Yeah.
Now, for this woman who has not been able to create the boundaries, and she feels she's irate, she's feeling walked over, she's feeling people have no value over me, how do we help her begin to create boundaries? What does she begin to do? Because she opened up that door, the fence, the gate, she opened up the door, she let them in, and now they're seated in their sofa and they're running the show. She's pushed to the edge, and now she wants to create that boundary. How do we even start?
First of all, just awareness, just being aware, and just what does an awareness take? Awareness takes self-reflection. It takes thinking, who am I? What do I need? What do I want?
Pause. Who am I?
What do I need?
What do I need?
What do I want?
What do I want? Please write. If you're driving, come back, look at what minute this is. I'll tell you why. The questions you ask yourself are going to, that internal compass barometer she's telling us, will be able to guide you. Who am I? What do I want?
What do I need?
What do I need?
What do I need?
Blah, blah.
And then you start small. You don't come and say, from now on, I mean, like, don't be so dramatic. You become a drama queen. You start small. You say to yourself, okay, what is it that I can do, even if it's about... Actually, once you self-reflect, then you know what it is that's causing you irritation, what's causing you to feel violated. Yeah.
On self-reflection, how are we doing that? What's that self-reflection? Take us through journaling.
It could be journaling.
Yeah.
It could be taking time to just think.
Thinking.
It could be just getting
Your
your car.
husband is a thinker.
Exactly. Some people just having a chat with someone and bouncing your ideas and thoughts of someone. Sometimes people around us know when we have allowed ourselves to be violated.
That's so true.
So those people can help us to self-reflect.
Yeah, okay.
Journal it. Write what you're feeling and what you think, especially when you catch yourself feeling irritated. Reflect on why is it. In fact, I like to, back to people that trigger you. I want to say you allow them to trigger you.
Oh,
They don't just show up and trigger you.
oh no, Irene.
Absolutely. You've allowed
You're saying
them.
we're allowing them?
Yes.
How now?
We are allowing them because we have not told them beforehand that when you start talking like that, I don't like that. Please do not talk to me like that. Just firmly, but clearly, I do not. I will. Once you've come down, please let's have a conversation.
Can I not chime in, but can I ask you a question? Because it brings me to a question that I have. A couple, they're married, and the wife says, my husband just really demeans me, speaks badly about me. Was there a genesis? Because at the point she's sharing that, do you mean there was a first tester?
There was.
And he was, can you share that? Yeah.
There must have been a first time,
Yeah.
and you said nothing.
You said nothing.
You said nothing. You decided it's too petty. I like to say, especially in marital relationships, there's nothing too petty. If it irritates you,
Yes.
Actually, one thing my husband and I do is if we're visiting, say you,
Yes.
Roseanne, if we're visiting, the moment we leave the door, I like to ask, is there anything I said that caused you to feel upset
Whoa.
or to demean you?
All right, listen. Okay.
They're
taking it. I didn't know that. What? When you leave the door, you ask Mumo?
I asked it, is there anything I said or any way that I acted that caused you to feel demeaned?
Oh, wow.
Because it helps him to reflect.
I'll start doing that.
If
I like that.
I don't ask him or if he doesn't ask me, I will bring it up. I'll say, in fact, I call it my rolling the eye moment. Because I like to be so aware, because my body is the one that reacts to something.
Yes.
If I was demeaned, I'll probably roll my eyes.
You know how we roll our eyes,
we're
girls.
rolling my
We're
eyes.
rolling our eyes.
Yeah, and I like to say those, to me, those physical things that I do with my body are indicators that something there wasn't right. And I like to bring it up early. So in fact, one of the things I say is set your boundaries early. Don't wait until, of course you can still set your boundaries. It's just harder. So if you do it early with a friendship, then these people know that you're honest.
Why would a woman say who has been demeaned is why she, at the minute the guy says something, why is it that we shut down? Why is it that we're not able to speak up?
Because of, sorry, I cut
no,
you short, but
fine.
I'm running with it.
Go,
and
go,
I'm
go,
thinking
go.
it's because we feel guilty.
Guilt.
We don't feel self-worth. You're so not aware that you are worth of being treated in a certain way. I like to say people treat each other so well in the workplace, but in marriages, I wish we could treat each other half as well as we treat people at work. Just half.
Goodness. Wow.
With kindness. Even when you have a burning idea, people package it so that it can be received. But when we get home, we're just not kind.
My goodness.
So if someone is not kind to you, the first time it happens,
The first time.
boyfriend, husband, child, say, that's not okay. I don't like that.
So what you're saying
Yeah.
now, Irene, so as we go back, so we've talked about awareness, worth, and boundaries. And I feel like we need to sort of peel it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because by the time we're going to the boundaries, there's the guilt. A woman is not feeling worth.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about worth? How do I, as a woman, feel I deserve? What if I've come from a background where I was made not feel worthy? What are some symptoms or key pointers that would make me know that, my goodness, no wonder I'm being violated because I have let someone walk all over me because I don't feel worthy?
It's the whole self-reflection. That's where you start.
You start self-reflection.
You start with self-reflection,
Got
because
it.
if you do, you're really taking stock of your life. You're saying, you know what, this makes me feel this way. Why? Then you start to interrogate and investigate why. It can take you back to, oh, this reminds me of how my mom talked to me or how my dad talked to me. And I was told Don't you dare
say anything.
Don't you dare say anything. Don't you dare advocate for yourself. So it takes you back. And sometimes that self-reflection process can actually take you back to places where you now need therapy.
Yes.
You need help.
Because you don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And you need to go there. You need to deal with that past that has brought you to this present. Because sometimes moving forward can be impeded by the fact that you've not dealt.
You've not dealt with the
You've
past.
not dealt. And sometimes the voice that your husband uses is actually triggering the voices you had as you grew
as
up.
you're growing up.
Yeah.
And would that also be the reason maybe why you're attracted to him, because there's a familiarity there?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right?
Sometimes we are attracted to the very trash we want to run away from. Ooh, I said that. Oof. Sometimes,
Kelvin, did you hear that?
Yes, and I was one of those. There's someone I dated, and now I think back. A friend of mine told me the other day, "You were dating a terrorist," and without naming names, I dated many boys.
We're not gonna name names. No.
But she was basically saying, you just changed. You are not yourself. So people who also cause you, unless they're making you better,
Yes.
if they're making you worse. That's a red flag. That's a red flag if they're causing you to be so self-deprecating that you don't feel you're worth it. Why would you allow someone to talk to you like that? Why would you allow someone to treat you like that? And I know sometimes we confuse wanting this person so much
That part.
that we're allowing, we are okay to break our barrier, our boundaries, to create holes in the fence. Dogs create holes in the fence.
No, I created a hole in our fence because I wanted to run away and go for a birthday party because my parents were very protective with 5 girls.
Yeah.
So I created that hole, but continue.
And who might have come through that hole?
Anybody, dogs, animals, anything.
Intruders.
Ooh, intruders.
Intruders.
Ooh, girl.
Intruders. So you need to watch your fence. And creating your boundaries today doesn't mean you're set for life. It means you're constantly just checking. Constantly
I like
checking.
that. I like
As you
that.
grow, as you develop, as you shift, as you change, you need to go. No one builds a fence and walks away. You need to go cut that, maintain it, trim it. If it's a stone wall,
Paint.
maybe there's cracks.
Yes.
You need to, repair those cracks. You need to trim the fence. You need to. You have
Take
to maintain
care.
it.
You gotta maintain it
You
and
have
keep
to
checking.
maintain it.
Yes.
Keep checking. So in terms of personal boundaries, it means you're constantly not making people uncomfortable. Actually, people are more comfortable with you when you have boundaries.
That's part.
Because they know your limits.
Exactly.
They know your extents. They know I can't have that conversation with Roseanne. She doesn't like that.
Let me tell you, Irene, I'm going to be honest. So there's someone that I really look up to, and this is very recent. And I created a very strong boundary. It's a work relationship.
Okay.
And before I did that, I was agitated. I was actually mostly agitated and irritated because I was feeling they're pushing my boundaries. Now, I'm prayerful.
You too are.
So that night I prayed about it. And I opened a book, and it said, the topic was about boundary creation.
Ooh.
I am not kidding you. I was like, okay, higher. The next day, I was meeting with them. I did not create the boundary. I'm just being real. I was so angry, so irritated with myself because I allowed that. Then next day, something was needed to be done at home. And this person, does that working relationship? And I wrote an email, and let me tell you, sending that email, when I clicked send,
what did you feel?
Relief. And let me tell you, even as I'm sharing this story now, because I want people to understand that even me as a coach, I've had to work on that creation. And I feel so good. And now, but this was the other interesting thing. I have now been able to write to other people without any fear and contradiction of myself.
It frees you.
That's the word.
It frees you.
Freedom, girls.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for.
It frees you.
Yes.
Boundaries free you.
Ooh.
You would think boundaries cage you in,
but they don't.
They just show you your playing field.
Oh man.
They show you can play up to here, you can play up to here. And when you let people into your boundaries, they also know, we can go this far, we can do this much, we can say this, we can do this, we can even some people hug you and you're just not okay with that hug.
It doesn't feel right.
It's okay to say, you know what?
Yeah.
You and I, we shake hands. It's okay to say that. It's okay.
Just from a distance. From a distance.
Yeah, and that's just to say, this is how far we go. No one should make you to feel certain ways. You determine. But when we fail, it's okay to say, you know what, I failed. So again, that point of self-reflection doesn't happen once.
It's that constantly upkeep of the fence.
Exactly. And thinking.
Don't you love that analogy?
Yeah.
That constant upkeep of the fence?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you think you need a different kind of door, how many times do we replace doors?
Many times.
You can replace a
those
door
doors.
if it's not working. If you need, maybe it was all glass, now you need it to be opaque because you still need the light.
Right.
You change it. We're very comfortable doing that about everything in life, but we don't do that with ourselves. Yeah.
And you know what I love about that? Human beings, we are malleable.
We are.
We can shift. We can adapt.
We can.
And I think what I'm trying to help that woman see is you don't have to freeze, number one. Secondly, you don't need to use food. If it becomes uncomfortable that you are not able to create that boundary, this is not why there's people like Irene that you can talk to.
Absolutely.
And specifically, especially, if there has been that conditioning that has happened from when you were a child, you have tried to create the boundaries. You have tried to put that paint you're doing that, but you're still finding yourself get stuck. That's when I say, please go and see a therapist.
Absolutely.
Go see a therapist.
Absolutely.
And so, Irene, when it comes to boundaries, and when it comes especially with time, that's another one, actually, me and my husband, because he's a timekeeper.
He's a timekeeper. Yes.
So clearly what I've done is I violate his...
Yeah. And then you wonder why he's irritated.
But
and then he gets irritated, and then you get irritated. So it becomes this back and forth thing. But we can draw a line.
And he drew that line.
Yeah,
he drew that line, and I was like, okay, sawa. I gotta style up real quick.
Yeah.
Now, Irene, for these women out here who are sitting here and are saying, okay, all this is nice and dandy. What are some things you would tell us? How do we start now? Is it journaling, reflection? What are some things that we could say? Okay. Tactful things we can begin to do.
Okay.
What do you want us to do?
I want us to, first of all, self-reflect.
Yes.
I always say, I'll go there.
And that's to bring awareness.
To yourself. Feel those feelings. Journal them if that's your style of reflecting. And interrogate them. And that's why I say sometimes just put your phone away. Because when you're on a phone, you're thinking. You're distracted. Put your phone away. Put your TV off. Go away to a silent retreat if need be and think.
Yes.
All right? The other thing is to start small. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't shift everything in your life.
Right?
You want start somewhere, start small, then set those boundaries early. As soon as you feel a certain way,
immediately
it's time to say something. It's time, because otherwise it becomes a mountain and then it becomes overwhelming. Right? And then be consistent and steady.
I like that.
You do?
Be consistent
and steady.
Hold your ground.
Yes. Because it helps to reinforce, even for yourself.
Yes.
Apart from the reinforcing for other people.
It's actually for yourself.
Self-reinforcing.
Yes.
Because it says, I woke up at 8, I'll wake up at 8 tomorrow, I'll put my child to sleep at 8. Yeah. I will wait for you in the car until 8:10. Actually, let me give you an example of a time limit I set with my own child, when he was in high school. And he had, for some reason, you would think boys don't take long to get ready.
But they don't.
This son of mine, he takes longer than even me. And one day I said to him, you know what, son, at this point, I will leave you. And I know I made that promise, but I was not consistent. The day I made the promise and kept my word, I actually drove away, and it broke my heart to drive away.
I'm surprised you did
but
that.
I did,
Wow.
and he ended up finding his way to school and running late and bearing the consequences. Because previously, I was the one bearing the consequences. I was the one getting late.
Yes.
And then I would be angry at him for making me late.
But you let him.
I let him.
You let him.
So from that point on, he actually started to do those things he was doing in the bathroom. He started to carry them into the car and do them.
That. So he figured a way to make it.
He figured a way to make. Since he has to do those things, we found a way to make this work for both of us.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
This woman, actually she's a client, and one of her biggest things is that not having boundaries with her kids, with the husband, with there's just no boundaries. but she struggles. How do we help her get out of that funk?
She will need to start small. She will need to identify the one thing that she can do.
Yeah.
For example, maybe it's easier to start with the kids than with the husband. Or sometimes it's probably easier to start with the husband because he's an adult and you can have a conversation.
Yes.
And you can say, you know what, when you say this, or when you do this, or when you run late from work, this is what it causes my life to be like. This is how I feel.
So the husband, and you know how some men can be difficult, they know how to create their own boundaries.
They totally do.
Right? So
yes.
why can't we? So what happens? When
There's a thing
that?
called love must be tough. I love you, but this is how far you come. I love you, but no question that I love you. That's not what we are dealing with here. Because sometimes we think that if we communicate boundaries, we're communicating that I don't love you.
But that's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
It's to say, when you speak to me like that, when you refer to me like that, when you don't protect me against your mom, when you don't protect me against the children, because sometimes children know that daddy wouldn't protect mommy.
Kids are very smart.
And they come at mommy, or the other way around. So it's very, very critical to have a voice. If you don't have a voice, as you're reflecting, you might discover every time these things happen, you keep quiet.
You keep quiet.
You keep quiet. You don't say anything. You go to sleep and cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah, I know many women who do that.
Yeah. And those are indicators that you have lost your voice. So you need a voice. Start by writing down what you're feeling. And then have a conversation with someone. Go to a specialist if it's so bad. Go to someone, a counselor that can help you to walk through, to help you unpack. Because sometimes these things have been packaged so tight.
Yes.
They're like rock on rock. And you want someone that can have objectivity into your life and say, you know what, let's unpack this. Tell me about this. Tell me about this relationship. Tell me about how you really start small, but start for sure.
Start for sure.
Yeah.
Because what I feel has happened is over the years, it's losing your worth.
Yes.
Losing your voice, allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like getting a trusted person, because I know like girlfriends can offer, I can offer, you know, but if you get a trusted person that you feel you want to speak to, at what point, because we say this, and I say clients, don't come to me unless you're ready to lose the weight, unless you're ready for me to help fix that mind the way you're thinking. This woman who is sitting down, she knows she doesn't feel her worth. She knows what she wants, but she's feeling completely lost. How, therefore, does she then say, what is that thing on the inside that's going to make her say, I need help and get up? Because there are women who are just, it's almost like they are so
suppressed.
I love that word, so suppressed that they're not even able to seek for help. So what needs to happen to that woman?
It's to start realizing you are important.
You're worth it.
You are worth
You're worth it.
You're worth every bit of ground you stand on. You have to be a champion for yourself.
For yourself.
No one, not even your most trusted girlfriends can champion that for you.
No, you gotta want it.
You've got to want it. And if it's keeping you so low, it's time to raise your head from the sand and say, I'm important. I'm critical.
Yes.
I'm needed. I have value. I have something to give. But before you can give, we need to work on you. We need to. If it's causing you to feel sad and bad and unappreciated and all those things, resentful, it's time to wake up. That's the only. I don't know how to say it. That's where you need to start. You just need to wake up and arise to the fact that you have lost your self-worth.
You've lost your self-worth.
Yeah.
And so one way to identify your worth is, you've told us about self-awareness, journaling, but are there some simple things someone can do to identify, okay, I am worth it? What is that? Because I'm really seeing this woman who is suppressed, who's not even able to get up, who is, you know that, can you see her?
Yes.
So how does she, and she doesn't even see her worth, how do we help her see her worth?
How do we help her see her worth? It could just be a list of the things you're good at.
That's it. Good. Yes.
What are you good at?
What am I good at?
Sometimes you don't even know what you're good at, but what have people told you?
Boom.
What have people told
Boom.
you? you're such a good listener. You're such a good cook. Your house is beautiful. You have such beautiful hair. You're such a giver. Those things that people have told you are those are the things that are part of your worth.
That's your worth.
That's your worth. And then start to build from there. Those are the things that say, I am important. If you are religious, there's lots of things that God has said about you. Who are you? And then you have to identify I always say the negative voices are not life-giving voices.
They never have been.
And
never
sometimes
will be.
you're your own negative voice.
A lot of times, girls.
You're the one. You're your own negative voice. So you need to find a positive. Find that girlfriend. Find that friend. Find that counselor who is able to help you to even do a self-reflection. There's actually tools that can be used to say, what am I about? What do I have to offer? What am I good at? What am I good at?
What am I good at? You know, I remember there's a story of someone who told me they went through issues. Actually, she was a single mom. They went through issues, broke up with her, so she had kids to raise. And she was stuck in her house, in her bedroom, and all she did was eat. Eat, because she wasn't ready to give up the breaking up of the relationship, because obviously there was an attachment there with the relationship. So even for single moms or moms or single women or even that woman who is feeling alone, how do they find they use the same principles to find their worth, isn't it?
Sometimes it can even take something very radical, like stepping away from that person, even if that person might be a husband. Sometimes it just could mean stepping away and saying, you know what, I love you, but I need time. I need time to just reevaluate this.
Yes, I like that.
And then when you come back, by the way, people are always like, okay, what do we need to do for you? Because they're realizing, ooh, she's become assertive.
Different, yeah.
She's changed. Yeah. She's demanding respect.
Yes.
She's demanding recognition.
Yes.
I'm not saying people should walk out of their marriages. Absolutely not.
I hear you.
I'm saying walk away and then walk back. Redefined.
You're walking away to self-reflect, to become aware, identify all the issues that have been, the boundaries that have been crossed over.
Yeah.
Then when you go back, you're now beginning to address those issues.
You're ready to address those issues. You're ready to be treated differently. And sometimes people don't value you if you're just sitting here and your mom, you're not talking. We don't know what you want.
By the way, that's true.
How many times do you ask people, what do you want? I don't know. That's part of you don't know what you want.
Really? Yeah.
You know what you want. Yeah. You're afraid of saying what you want because you're afraid of losing. If these relationships are so critical and so important, they will bow to what you want.
Can I tell you, that is so true. Because I've seen it, not only in my own life, but even clients who've created those boundaries, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have to create these boundaries so that I'm living for myself. I'm living for myself. Now, Irene, as we come to a close, because this has been so amazing. And you guys, you want to see her again and again and again? Yes. I know you will. And she's going to be coming again because honestly, she has so much to offer for us. So there's a segment that I do inside Hey Sugar that I call Hey Sugar Spotlight. And so spotlight means, that spotlight, shine a light. So what would you want to tell this woman in her life as she's creating this lifestyle for herself, something that is sustainable, something that's doable? What do you want her to spotlight in her life?
I have some takeaways I had written in my notes.
Takeaways, let's go.
I want to say one thing that you have to buy into is that boundaries are healthy and you have to set them yourself. That's one. Boundaries are healthy, they're critical, and you do the work.
Boundaries are healthy.
Yes.
I love that. Boundaries are healthy.
They're healthy. They help you have healthy relationships. Boundaries get easier with practice. So the first time you do it, it's going to be hard.
Yes.
People will be saying, what? Mom, you're not available?
Right.
I'll tell you about that in just a few minutes.
Right.
When I first got married and moved away from home, I'd tell my mom we're coming to visit.
Right.
And Mom, what would Mom do? Because she's so sweet.
Cook.
She'd set the whole day aside waiting for me, waiting for us, and then we'd rock up at 5. One day she told me, you know what, when you come, this is where you'll find the key, please feel free. And it woke me up to, I have been abusing my mom's time.
Yes.
I have been abusing, because she's so sweet and gentle and kind. I have been abusing her time. And she just said, you know what, I have things to do. I'm not going to cancel my plans for people who rock up at 5. They don't value my time. So boundaries get easier with practice. Okay. Setting limits can be one of the highest forms of self-care.
Boundaries are healthy.
Yes.
Setting limits is the highest form of self-care.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
And then the best way to set boundaries is before they even become an issue.
I love that.
You don't put up a fence when thugs came, after thugs came and invaded. No. Yeah, that's a bit late.
That's a bit late, girl.
I mean, you still can.
You still can.
But the ideal time is before you've been violated at work, by children, by yourself even, by the things you're thinking, by your mindset.
The things you read, the things you watch.
Yes. Yeah. That's the best time to set boundaries. So those are the 4 things I would say are critical.
Listen, I don't even think we need to add anything, because if you begin to apply those things that Irene is sharing with us, you begin to craft and build up that fence. I absolutely love that analogy. The house is my home. You know, even I'm beginning to see like different rooms. You know, the kitchen is the cooking. That's the brain where everything is happening.
Right, about anyone can come to the kitchen.
Right. And usually not everybody goes into the kitchen.
Exactly.
Can you hear how beautiful this is? Honestly, Irene, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming, for teaching me, because I have learned much. I think the one I absolutely love is boundaries are healthy. Just to know, because sometimes we will end up feeling guilty because we have said no, but it's something that is supposed to help us feel guilty, make us create a healthy lifestyle for ourselves.
Exactly.
So I want to thank you.
Thank
you, Irene, for joining us. Ladies, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for listening to this episode. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope this has been of value. I want you to create your own boundaries. And if there's something that has jumped out at you that you feel, whoa, she said something that just hit me, please do share with us below. If there's anything else you would want to hear from Irene, share those topics below, because we would love to bring all this to you. Remember to subscribe, to share, invite your friend. Just, you know what, girls, just click the like button. That's really going to help the algorithm know you're enjoying this type of content, and it's going to be able to show it to other people. So I'd really appreciate if you just liked this video. And as always, remember, you've got one life, you've got one body, and I want you to treasure it.